Hey YouTube Void, what's going on? How was your week? Hi, my name is Rachel. I am an artist slash part-time reseller who makes part-time pay slash person who is obsessed with sustainability, saving things from the landfill, climate change is real, and rolling all of that into one fun YouTube channel that nobody asked for and nobody's watching. So, what's up?
You have my undivided attention.
Um, I have been doing this consistently for like 6 or 7 weeks now, which has been interesting. First of all, not fun to always it's all fun and games when you're like, I'm going to start a YouTube series and I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then life comes in and then it's like time and, the fact that nobody really watches these videos, though I do spend time like editing it because that's the artistic part of me that wants some creative control. And it's like, well, what's the point? But I'm like, you know what the point is actually for me. Like, let's be real. But I wanted to share it like out in the internet to maybe show a different perspective because, you know, being self-employed is a lot and like so much power to everybody who starts a business. And I think it is hard not to get discouraged and not to like see all of the YouTube channels, especially when we're talking about reselling, where it's like, I'm making 6 figures and only working part time, and they've got this magic formula that they're doing. And then your experience is something completely different. And it's like,
What's wrong with me?
and listen, for all the haters out there, because, if 4 people are watching it, one person's probably hating this. But like, fair. Like, the problem could probably be me. But the great thing about this channel is for me to like look at what I'm doing. Like last week, I really like solidified it in my brain that I am like charging a flat rate for shipping, which is a choice, but I'm not charging enough for the shipping. So I'm ending up paying more than what I'm charging for shipping, which is a great discount for the buyer. And, I'm totally cool with that. But like, that also needs to come into my calculations because that means I'm taking home less at the end of the day. And, so there you go. Also, it's been interesting, like, really looking at the amount of time that I'm spending doing this and what the payoff is, and really like coming to terms with the fact that, it's not like an employee job, which I've had a million of them. It's very much like being an artist. Like being an artist, you go on a bazillion auditions and you get maybe, I was teaching a class for high school kids and I was telling them like my average is like maybe 1 out of every 10 auditions I go on. But every audition that I go on takes a lot of work and a lot of time to like learn stuff, material, and to like be prepared. And so there's not always a payoff for the amount of work that you put in. When I'm an employee, I know that I'm going to punch in or clock in, and then I'm going to get paid for that time, or I will take them to court. So, you know, coming to terms with the idea that especially in 2026, where it's like not everything you do has an immediate payoff, or that like this is the amount of time that I'm spending, so this is the amount of money I should be making, has been very interesting. I have realized as we're getting to the end of March and we're looking now at 2 months worth of what gross profit versus the net profit is, the margins are small. So it really has made me think about what I'm sourcing. I want to save everything. Like, I'm one of those people that's like, let's save as much stuff from the landfill as possible. This, save from the landfill. These, save from the landfill. I just want to like take everything and like be like, I know it can find a good home. But the reality is I only have limited space and I only have limited time. Because I am an artist, like I only have like some time to devote to reselling. Like, it's very much part-time. I can't do it full-time. So I have to be more judicious about what I'm picking up, and what I'm selling, and knowing the price points that I'm selling it for, and how, how that's going to affect the bottom line. So it's been a really good educational experience for me to do these videos.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers. Meow. I'm learning.
Also, like, just purely, again, speaking as an artist, like, I see how I ramble and stuff, and I'm like, oh, let's be a little bit more concise. My poor boyfriend, I make watch these videos. Yeah. Love you. And he's like, you need to get to the point. And I'm like, fair. Like, this has been really great for me to, like, see when I can work on and just, like, be consistent with this. And I think that in the long run, regardless of whether anybody ever watches this or not, like, it's going to help me be better at a business that I'm, creating and trying to sustain. And especially in, like, the most screwed up economics I can remember. There are times in history where we have these moments, and it's like, again, it's like you can't really talk about the economy without getting political, which is, unless you're a political channel, is like kiss of death. I know a lot of people just steer clear of it, but it's very difficult, because when I'm talking about a business and sales, it's like, if people don't have money, they can't buy things. And my stuff is not a necessity. Like, I'm not selling rent. I'm not selling health insurance. Anyways, so, like, here we are for another week, as I've rambled on, talking about rambling and then rambling, because, yes. It's been a little bit better than last week. Like, it was very much similar to this last week, which has been interesting, because it's definitely not enough. Like, even in my standards, it's not enough. And so trying to figure out, like, how to grow is definitely, like, just a learning experience. But, not to, like, show off the arms or anything, but, like, look at that. There's some definition there. I do Peloton. Like, this definition in my arms is from, like, months of, like, being consistent and showing up every morning and doing, at least 30 minutes of a workout. So if I'm going to use that as inspiration, this is what these videos are for me, is to be like, what do I have control over? I have control over what I spend my time doing. I have control over the inventory that I pick up. I have control over how I run my business. What do I not have control over? The economy. I don't have control over any of this craziness going on. I don't have control over, the shipping prices that are going to be going up, which are going to then affect a lot of things. Was it 8%? Okay, this is me processing stuff. I don't have control over a lot of stuff, actually, in life. And what do I have the power to change? And what do I have to let go of? And that's kind of the life lesson that I'm working through. And it's the same with, my career as an artist. It's like, there's a lot of things I do not have control over. So it's trying to remain positive, because my last video was slightly negative. I was like, I had a drink because it was such a long week, and it just feels like a lot of things are out of control. And especially, like, for a lot of us that are just, like, overwhelmed by everything going on, there's a lot of anxiety going on. Like, I wake up and I just feel anxious, and it doesn't even necessarily have to do with anything personal. It's just like everything going on. And then you, like, watch things, and it's like in the algorithms, and everybody's using clickbait titles. So it's like getting your anxiety up, and then you just, like, it's hard to function as a human being, because I don't think we were meant to function in a state of overwhelm 100% of the time. So So last week I was, needless to say, I was feeling sorry for myself. But I think that's important too. Like, at least for me to watch, it's like, you know what? I'm trying to build a business based off of what I like to call empathic capitalism, which just means that not only do I believe in capitalism and making money, but I believe that it's my responsibility to give back to others and to my community, and to, provide an excellent service, or at least the best that I can do. And so it seems like I'm trying to be Mother Teresa or this really great person. But the reality is that I'm a human being. And as much as I strive to be a better person, I have moments where I am a complete and total brat. Just ask my boyfriend. I have moments where I feel defeated. I have moments where I just want to give up. Showing the reality of like being human and not that everything's not all horrible and everything's not all amazing, and that it's the journey that's the most important thing is, I think important. It's the, what it is like, especially in like the 80s and 90s and I want to say early 2000s, but remember the montage scenes? I mean, it's Rocky, right? Like, and I talk a lot in like film and cartoon and stuff because that's the medium that I love. It's what I decided to go into as a career. So, but Rocky has the amazing fight at the end of the movie, but what the important part is like the montage where you see little snippets, but that is like an entire how many months that he spends like training, and it gets clipped into like 1 or 2 minutes. Why? Because it's boring. Because nobody wants to watch a 15-hour movie with him just running and eating healthy and training. No, we clip it because that's more exciting, and then we see the payoff at the end. And forget, by forget, I mean me, forget that it's all of that montage time that was spent like putting in the work that it actually leads up to the big payout at the end. And sometimes there's not a payout, right? Like, this is not the movies. Like, maybe this idea that I have is completely ludicrous and stupid, and it's fair. But they always say, by they I mean Gandhi, I believe, said, be the change you wish to see in the world. God, I hope I'm correct in that. Not, I will put it up on the screen. But yeah, I'm tired of everybody wanting something from me without like caring. People want my money. People want my time. And it's not mutually beneficial. It's for their own, goal. So what if we make things a little bit more the way it should be, which is, like we give a shit about each other and like try and be there for each other and create a better system that we all can, thrive in, because, it shouldn't be that you have to fail so I can succeed. It should be what is mutually beneficial and how can we both get what we need, as much as possible. So, I mean, I feel like I get on this soapbox all the time, but I'm talking to myself, so it makes sense. But that's pretty much it for this week. I think the biggest takeaway for me is just to remind myself to like, it's the process, and to keep learning and being aware of what I'm doing so that I can adjust and I can see what works and I can see what doesn't. I've gotten off of my soapbox now.
Finally!
Anyways, let's get through the week because, we're maintaining, and let's just talk some details, and then next week we'll look at the entirety of March. Hopefully it'll be better than February, being that there was an extra week, but we'll see. So just for some lovely housekeeping, the sales are for the days that I take the packages to the post office. So regardless of the date and the time, I include that sale on the day that I take it to the post office. If that makes any sense whatsoever. What we're doing every week is getting to what I lovingly have coined the pre-net. Basically, I'm taking a first round of deductions from my gross profit. The first round of deductions are basically going to be the platform fees from the 3 platforms that I sell on: eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. Any shipping labels that I have to purchase, which are only on eBay. Poshmark and Mercari actually provide labels for me. And any commissions that I pay out. I sell a couple things on consignment, and so those payouts as well go. And it's basically like 50% of the sale after all the fees and shipping is taken out. So that's the pre-net total. And then the rest of the deductions are anything from, subscriptions to shipping supplies to holding money for taxes, etc., etc. We also see the difference between the gross profit and the net profit, which is like a lot and very eye-opening. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. And then next week, being the first week of April, we will take a minute to go through the entirety of March and get as close to that net profit as possible. Like I said, there's always little things here and there, but we're getting to like the meat and potatoes of like what I'm actually taking home when all is said and done. And the difference between the gross profit and the net profit are like thirds. Like I'm taking home a third of what my gross profit is, and I don't have a lot of deductions, and it's still like I'm still not taking home a lot when all is said and done. So something to think about, right? Anyways.
Now back to the show. Do you see how your patience paid off?
I'm like totally digging this shirt too. I love it. It's like super sparkly. Bins, people. This is from the bins. I love it. I have a doctor's appointment after this. I'm going to wear this to my doctor's appointment. And my lovely new parachute pants, which are Athleta. Like together, I think maybe this outfit costs $3. Like I said, thrifted is the way to go, people. Like, the economy is kind of sucking right now. Find what you need, like online secondhand. There are some really great deals out there.
I'm a shopaholic.
As things get a little tighter, I think, finding stuff secondhand, saving something from the landfill, totally worth it. Okay, Monday. So we started off the week rough because Monday was a sales from the weekend and I had 3 sales. 2 on eBay, 1 on Poshmark. Kind of set up the week, It started getting a little bit better towards the end, and actually I'm recording on Monday morning, but this last weekend was actually not bad. So next week's sales will be hopefully a lot better. First, we have this vintage Life magazine from 1961 featuring Mickey Mantle. It sold for $20 with $6 shipping. eBay released $21.96. Next, we have this Ink International Concepts black off-the-shoulder embroidered blouse. Really cute. It sold for $12 with $6 shipping, and eBay released $15.31. Then on Poshmark, we have a vintage Disney Mulan clear lunchbox or carrying case. I loved this. I found this in the bins. I've had it for a while, actually. It sold for $12, and Poshmark released $9.05. So the total that was released to me from the platforms was $46.32. Then we still need to take out the 2 shipping labels, which were $9.20 and $6.22, for a grand total of $30.90. On Tuesday, we have 1 sale. So it's either been like 0 sales Tuesdays or like 1 sale Tuesdays. It's been fairly consistent. So we'll see if we keep this up. Hopefully not. But I sold this antique green yellow tie-dye table runner dresser scarf. It's from the 1930s. I have actually quite a few of them. I'm selling them for a friend on consignment. It sold for $20 with $6.50 shipping. eBay released $22.51. The shipping label was $6.08, and then the commission was $8. So after all that was taken out, my grand total for the day was $8.43. On Wednesday, we had 2 sales, and they were both through Poshmark, so I didn't have to worry about labels. I sold this African print and Kara wax print dashiki. It was really cool. It sold for $15 and Poshmark released $12. And then I sold a set of 3 unbranded rosary beads for $12 and Poshmark released $9. And so my total for the day, my pre-net for the day, was $21.05. On Thursday, I had 2 sales, one on eBay, one on Poshmark. So we're in the 2 sale club for a little bit here. Last year, I feel like I averaged on the whole like 3 sales a day. So, and that possibly right now the economy's kind of, having some fun. So that's probably affecting things. On eBay, I sold this Nike Spana soccer shirt. I hope I'm pronouncing these things correctly. Anyways, it was really cool. I had it for a while. Somebody sent me a message about an offer, and finally I was like, okay, sure. It sold for $12 with $4 shipping. eBay released $13.40. And then on Poshmark, I sold this Ink International polka dot maxi skirt. It had tags on it. It sold for $15 and Poshmark released $12. So the total that was released to me that day was $25.40. The one shipping label was $5.27. And that leaves a total of $20.13. So this is one of those things where it's I don't necessarily update a lot of my shipping costs, which I need to start doing. At that time period, when I had that Nike shirt, $4 was a reasonable amount of money to charge for a shirt. But now it's where it went. It cost me $5.27, which is a whole $1.27 higher than what I charged the buyer. And you're like, that's not such a big deal. But when the margins are so small, that $1.27 is everything.
Look at me. I'm making people happy. I'm the magical man from Happy Land in a gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane. Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic.
Well, duh.
On Friday, we had 3 sales, all 3 through eBay. We had an unbranded pink crystal cross pendant. It sold for $7 with $4 shipping. eBay released $9.06. Basically, this is one of those things where it's I'm just making sure it stays out of the landfill because I'm making maybe $1 out of all this. Next, we had 3 vintage unbranded safety pins that sold for $10 with $4.75 shipping. eBay released $12.38. And then we had a nice sale of a vintage infant strawberry shortcake dress. I saw this and I had to pick it up. There was no way I was going to leave that at the bins. It sold for $50 with $6 shipping. Yay! And eBay released $47.57. So that sale was very helpful this week. The amount released from the platform was $69.01. We had 3 labels to take out, which were $5.52, $5.30, and $7.52. Which leaves us with $50.67. So the grand total for the week was $131.18. So we've, like I said, we're maintaining. So it's not horrible. It's not crater crashing, which I'm sure there will be weeks of that. Actually, there have already been weeks of that. But it's not a lot. This is still the pre-net, and it's only $100 something for the week is not a lot. It does not pay for anything. So even though this is a part-time job, and this I have other means of income, so I'm not just making that for the week and paying my bills and putting a video out. But I would like it to do better because I have a insane amount of money that I need to pay for my dental braces and for dental work that needs to get done. I help subsidize my dad's rent because his social security check doesn't even begin to cover anything, honestly. So, there are things that even with an economy that's going crazy and the fact that everything's getting more expensive, there are things that I would like to do. I need to get new headshots. That is so first world problems, but I really my headshots are getting to the point where they're like, that's not what you look like anymore. So there are things that I need to do. So how do I, in this environment, do better? And how do I remain positive? And I'm not talking about toxic positivity, because I think there is a time to be realistic and to mourn things. Like, there's so much going on right now in our world. Like, it is a lot. And it, being realistic and mourning a lot of the things going on is, I think, it's going to make me stronger in the long run. So I don't want to be like, everything's amazing and look at me, I'm trying to do good in the world and I'm so awesome. Like, that's not the reality of the world, right? Maybe in the movies, like, people are good and bad, and there's not a lot of in between, especially when it comes to Disney. But there's everything is nuanced. We have, I think, as humans, the ability to be kind or cruel, and it's our decisions that make that happen. This whole experience is a lot, and I'm like excited about it and also terrified, because this could all blow up in my face, and it could be like a year later and we could be like, well, what have you learned? Nothing. How have you grown your business? No. But at least I showed up. I sat down here with my coffee or my alcohol to like have a conversation, if anything, with myself, and to possibly try and show that there's maybe another way to do capitalism, and to, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which is not a thing. And look at the origin story of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, to like really understand like how much we have like idolized like that concept, and how like it was actually based on something that was like farcical. Is that a word? Hopefully. Anyways, here we are. And I will be back next week and talking to myself, and hopefully inspiring myself, and wearing something else totally thrifted. So have a great week. Happy almost April. And happy almost Easter. Happy all the things. And let's keep going. Carpe Diem, y'all. Have a great week. Bye.